we'll just try and cover most of these questions that we need to get through. You know, what are the significant movements that's happened in this area with Pasifika in the last 12 months? Has anyone got any sort of question or anything to add to that, or any knowledge about that area?
I don't think I'd be able to speak to that question very professionally, but experientially.
Yep.
I have seen a number of Pacific Island students come into our classes at Insight Learning. And as I mentioned there, an Indian couple came in, and they're only coming through advertisements, responding to the newspaper and asking for literacy. And a lot of them do have a difficulty finding work because of their literacy, low level of literacy.
Okay.
Even though they have gone through the Fiji system and come through like 6th form, 7th form, they've come through the schooling system, and yet they're still not New Zealand conversational material. That I think is the difficulty. They have a very formal education in Fiji. It's, I think the conversational element might be missing, and the accent, of course, is there too, and unavoidably. Often the presentation is not there also. Kind of insecurity, which I think will take a while. As people will take a while to get over, if you like to put it that way. They need to be accepted. They need to be put into the workplace, have the opportunity to be in the workplace, be talking to clients, managers, and others. Otherwise, they're never really going to pick that up. They pick up the vibrancy of the Kiwi environment.
Yeah, Ulu, you got anything that's sort of about Pasifika or the movements in the last 12 months?
I think what we've seen up in Auckland is definitely last 12 months we've seen a big a number of youth coming through, PI youth, coming out of school. Some of them are up in Auckland not actually getting kicked out of school as well. They've actually been they've left school because it hasn't worked for them. And on the other side, another thing that we've seen is there are a couple of PI tutors that are starting to get more interested in trying to share their knowledge as well. PI, Pacific Island, a lot of Pacific Island tutors will be very critical, and you know, when they'll see things and they'll talk about, oh yeah, this doesn't work, that, you know, and they've got the ideas, but what I'm seeing is they're starting to get encouraged to actually get out there and share it, share the knowledge. And I think there's a bit of a, like what you guys are doing, you know, NC Lana and Owen Wiarangi, you know, there's a platform for these PI people to get out to share the knowledge out to those that aren't aware of how do we work with these kind of students. And so yeah, that's what I've seen in the last 12 months. And it's slow, I'd like to see more, so yeah, that's good. That is my culture, so I fit in that place easily. And then coming in to try and share with other people that aren't part of that culture, definitely trying to get them into that, into my world kind of thing. Some things are definitely, one thing I always do share is build relationally with them. You know, you don't trust them, they won't trust you. Who's going to be the first to break that barrier for that? Because PI culture is very family orientated, just like the Maori culture. And that's a hard thing to break, because even if you're going to try to build with them, it may take you 6 months until they finally open up to you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll never open up in like a group like this, to be honest.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. Yeah. If I could.
Yep, carry on.
Go for it.
Yep, roll off that one.
Comment. For a Pacific Island, a guy, say a Fijian guy, to come in to this context, sit around in a group, immediately there's a standoffishness, a stand back, a fear. Yeah. They would prefer, if I've got it right, they prefer a much more formal situation where the chairs all in a row, and they can take things fairly quietly and come and open up slowly. And you were saying it'll take a while for them to relax, yeah. And that is exactly right. the students that I have experienced here, not necessarily in Fiji, but here, last year and this year as well, it takes, how long, I'm trying to guess, a couple of weeks. I won't say what nationality the lady was that I have in my class right now, but Pacific Island nationality, and she was very quiet for the first little while, the first week, and I was wondering whether I might lose her. In fact, she was feeling uncomfortable and wouldn't participate. So, but it took a couple of weeks of sort of leaving her alone to relax, become more confident with the other students and the interaction with the Kiwi students and the Maori students that I have in the class, and one Indian lady as well, just quietly to find her wavelength. And now she wants to stay. She said, I must stay here. I want to stay here for the rest of the year, and it's actually going to be like that. And that's the situation even with the guy that I had last year, Fijian boy that I had last year. Share a little bit of the Fijian language. Kunalanga, don't worry, it'll be all right. And Bulla, how are you today? And all this sort of thing, a few words that
Yeah, so sort of getting to know their culture,
Yes.
yeah, a bit more.
Yes.
So what ways can we do that, What ways can we actually get to know, because it's, for Māori culture, there's certain places that we can visit, What do we know that's out there that we can access to get to know your Pasifika learner? So what would be the first step that we probably would need to do?
I think a cool way to start and give it a try, is just start off by asking them, what church do you come from? Some of them, even if they're New Zealand born, they won't know what village they're from. Like you ask a lot of Maori youth, what tribe are they from? A lot of them, I think now, they do know. A lot of Pacific Island youth, New Zealand born, don't know what village they're from. But a lot of times you can somehow associate them to a church. And that's whether they go to church or not, there are some places that they can associate themselves to it. And fellowship around food always works, eh? And how does that work? There's a lot of different ways of making that work. It's not microwave education. It's not going to work with, PI people. You're talking about if you're a tutor or you're a teacher that's come from a family of 2, and now you're trying to teach and build with someone that's come from a family of 12, kind of thing. Yeah, and then I take my hat off to, people that don't have a PI culture, or no idea of the background, because it's not easy, and it's hard work, and I do take my hat off for what you guys are doing.